to make an upset.
Alrighty, Vicky. And listen, Vic, we saw this with Cafe Rose and their ticket to success. They had the gambit, and they used the gambit to their advantage because they practice it. And whenever you've got a little bit of, chaos, you might as well go all in. And just like that, they're not going to be able to. It's bad. Never mind.
All right. Remember what we heard in some of our interviews, right? Like they also being that problem. Well, guess what? LuneX being on the other side will be able to protect that for themselves. Whereas Citadel will not be able to roll out with that. They banned the Mantis next because they don't want to damage Busa Elsa to just get away with whatever she can get away with from the high ground, especially since we are going to Krakoa. So you have a lot more of that high to low ground disparity, a lot of different off angles. Seeing what this next protect is going to be, the first protect for Liquid Citadel is going to be the Gambit. So that's definitely the one upper hand here that you have a much more flexibility in running. If you want to do Gambit, Rogue, Magneto, what are you going to ban next? Because you kind of force the rock, paper, scissors of, okay, we see Gambit. Do we want to ban out the Rogue or Magneto? Or Star-Lord?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's a great point. I think Star-Lord and or Loki should be the next. Probably Loki to be the next up. It has to be the priority ban here for them, and they can get away with Star-Lord later on. Having the Elsa, though, I said that would be a big ticket for them with Regis that they can follow. So Loki's going to be banned. You just cannot, it would just be over before it started, right? You can't give double the fold against that team. So we'll see that get banned out as I'm completely out of my mind, and it goes to Rogue. Okay, well, at this point, you save Star-Lord, you save Loki? This is already interesting. Okay, it's Daredevil. I quit. This should be a fun one.
The Daredevil is saved. Okay, well, remember those nerves? I'm not too sure about those because the devil has been let out way too many times within this first day of Americas as they hover over the cat. Okay, well, that means that at least from the other side, you still have the Gambit. It looks like maybe here, rather from Liquid Citadel, they have the Gambit saved here, but they had to use up that one bandit on the Rogue, which means you only have so much to work with before we see this last protect for the LuneX.
No, this is saying, hey, we know how good Paulie and Spark Chief are, and we have to attack their best of the best. I mean, obviously, the cap is all there for Paulie. I always want to see it. It's like Kurova's Adam. Like, I'm dying to see it. We never get to see it. And so we're seeing a lot of target player-specific bans on that team. That's why it's a bit out of the norm. But then what you do is you open up any option for this team, and look how perfectly open the dive is. Energy on the Star-Lord with the Gambit, paired up with Speedery on the Devil, Venom in the animated glory coming from Spark Chief. It's gonna. Paulie's like the only one that probably not getting to play what he wants to here, because if they had Cap, it would be it.
That's why you see him going over to the Magneto. If they're going to be able to rock out on the Gambit, Nero Cooper wondering, okay, do you just want to swap? And then I'll be able to take the Gambit instead. Leaning into this win condition, Spark Chief and Energy are going to be a huge problem. Then you add into the extra damage that Paulie's about to do thanks to the team up, as doesn't even look like that's what they're going to be leaning into. I'm wondering, they want to get that Strat Ultimate online very quickly, rotate through that, and they could even make the swap if they wanted to. Okay, no, that's not what we're going to be leaning into. Instead, we got the Loki available with the Rage and Royal Flush double combo.
Yeah, two things to look out for you, LuneX, right? It's going to be the dive on Silent Blaze and keeping up and getting the 2-for-1 and trying to get out the res before it can happen. And then the other is going to be on Regis and all that pressure. He's got to really bring a lot if it's going to give this team any bit of a chance. We've seen an upset today to kick off the day. We're in the fourth match. Gates are open. The Hellfire Gala's getting ready as we speak, as we find ourselves in Krakoa, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
My first personal favorite maps, Cozy, as we get things set up. Another diverse look at a lot of our beautiful maps and within Marvel Rivals. But it was the portal play already from Tico to get LuneX set up first. I do like this, but Spark Chief being a little displaced notices, okay, they wanted to contest us on the bridge. Now they're already on the point with the aggression in terms of the positioning. You can currently see Iffy too, just lingering up on top, has a lot more of those pillars to work around.
Yeah, Cooper, one of the best strategists, if not the best in this game right now. It's so fun to watch what they can do on the hero of Loki. Now, probably going to be the first to fall. That's going to be a big pick early now to set up the success against this heavy dive that will come. Tones trying to find their first target against the Energy there as Star-Lord. Logan keeping the team up and healthy from a distance. Both of the strategists not getting hit at all. Safe and ready. Spark Chief goes down. And there it is. LuneX is going to get the first cap like we all expected, like we all wrote down.
I can't wait to see how everyone's predictions are looking, by the way, by the end of today. It's also a little statement maker to open up our first day here. Logan being able to get that first pick too. Also, before they were able to get that follow-up, look at this ultimate economy with Logan closer to that invisible boundary, whereas Cooper had tried to get that copy before after making that swap up. And now is sticking to that Loki and Gambit still here, looking like he's already close to 80% on that God of Mischief.
Yeah, only 20% and up, right? So they can push in quickly with this comp. Spark Chief going to the Groot to change some things up here. Now quickly, as you have the Speedery diving in, will he have his team join him? Nothing yet. Gonna allow the other teams to get things sucked up. This is a huge large shot fighting one, now two. That's gonna be a quick into Speedery. And it's gonna be Paulie finding himself out of this as the Gambit ult goes on live from Cooper. And just like that, able to flip the monster on its heels, Vic.
And he double jumped all the way to the top before finding that dive onto the back line. Just a Magneto with his extra shoes really tied up. And the Eye of Agamotto comes in, finds three. Huge. Needs the follow-up, though, as Nero has a Raging Royal Flush. Beerberg is going to be able to actually help them out from the back line, but then you have a huge anti onto Tico and Ippy. They're forced to back away. It's Logan who's the first to get called out. LuneX is trying to play this very spread out, but it is Liquid Citadel who have way more bodies here. Nice trades, but Silent Blaze is still alive from LuneX.
The fact that they have the point is the only good thing going for them right now for Liquid, because if they didn't have the point here and they did all the resources they had, it was going to be really rough, sledding to just have this sustain fest on. Vic, that's what gave this fight in this map a chance for them as they continue to push on now as the time ticks up. The Devils let up on Speedery. He continues to find success. Energy going to capitalize with it, and there it is, yet another stagger. So if you are LuneX, reset fully here. Come back together. The point is, at this point, lost. Get back together and don't let any more staggers happen, but they can't get away. Tones goes down as well, and now another.
Definitely agree, because then now you had the solid opportunity just for Liquid Citadel to increase their aggression here on the point. They're nearing 60% now as energy's coming right back around. LuneX, though, have to look to utilize Redis and that Apex Predator as well as Iffy. He's got that Heaven's Retribution to follow up as a wombo combo.
Absolutely. Now, as they have fully reset, Cooper on the Loki is a problem. I do report absolutely putting the God in the God of Mischief here. Energy ready to throw down the end song as well, hunting the Angela in the sky as if he's trying to escape, and there it is to hold them and fold. Cooper throws out, the full aggression goes. He's trying to hunt and pray. Vicky, can he find one success? They're pushing him back to spawn.
Oh, they find Tico at least. I was going to say, that was like a 5-man anti right there that we saw from Nero. No follow-up until the very end to find the Doctor Strange. Heaven's Retribution, though, from the back end. Are we going to see a follow-up here as Energy takes to the sky with a quick reset just to make sure they see where everyone from LuneX is coming? But with Iffy not having any follow-up, and now they're just staggering even more. Overtime ticking away in favor for Liquid Citadel as Speedery finds not one, but two.
A little bumpy start at first, but things starting to click now. Redis is going to get Energy out of here. Iffy going to fall. They do have Tico with the portal, but not going to be enough time to get things rolling for the team. Vic, yeah, I got to just say, when they got the point cap back, when they started throwing all the ults out at once and the Q explosions happened, that's really what allowed them to keep the momentum on. And then, as we know, the Stagger Fest happened.
Yeah, and they kept trying to force it, right? We saw LuneX just keep trying to stagger back in and out, and it was unfortunate. You called it, they had to reset a lot earlier before trying to force more of these just raw staggered ultimates too, when Liquid Citadel already had control over the point.
And listen, I'm just going to say, outside of Necrorize and what we saw them do in Angela, right now the Angela's not working. We saw it with Sentinels. We're back over here. Let's see if we can probably pull something else out. If he did play a lot of Angela in the MRC as well. I do like what LuneX has, though. They're cooking with the Vanguard Deadpool. That's where they have a little bit of their advantage, if you will, against them, alongside that Elsa. The Glartrox is ready to go and roll out. But yeah, dealing... I mean, we said right away, Vicky, we were like, okay, they got to ban the Loki here. How many times did the double Raging Royal Flush get them out of problems? I mean, twice I can count at least in that last hit.
And it's like breaking your neck, having to look up at Paulie, just like staggering down on your head with just regular Magneto damage output too, with the team up that you have to worry about from Nero, who's about to have the Rage Royal Flush, by the way. Seeing how Logan's gonna be able to try to survive with the invisible boundary as they may need to back away, but Silent Blaze also has a good amount of that damage output with the C available. Rage Royal Flush is gonna come out first, forcing Nero to back away though, because with another portal play to block out his entrance.
Yeah, here comes all the Qs at once. Grabs charge, begging for life now as the dash up goes. Logan trying to keep his team alive from the back end. And just like that, Spark just going to go in and throw down the Groot hug and the big purple Meteor lands up, down, Pauly throws, and Regis is the one that finds from the ult of the Glartrox. Both strategists fed right to the monster.
No one's looking at Regis because Regis is getting away with all this damage output from the sidelines. Yes, you were able to clear up your backside. Pauly was in Timbo too, and now sees that the rest of the team is gone. So it's going to be a nice reset here from Liquid, but a better takeover from LuneX to finally take the point first.
Yeah, quite literally using the advantages we just pointed out to their advantage in that fight. And they burnt an ult, right? So they were able to get through Nero's first wave. Cooper's going to be coming shortly after. But now they can set up, and I think this team comp for LuneX is a bit better here once that point's already capped. Like, they have a lot of sustain that they can roll with. Tico going to go with the Agamotto early. Hit one that I liked earlier, one I wish they had back. And here's the Devil being let out shortly from Speedery. And here it comes.
Let the Devil out. Diving right back in. Speedery finds Tones next, and Loken gets to defend themselves. Thanks to the BRB, Tones comes right back around, and look at Tico, who tries to get a little sneaky. I have a photo right around the other side of the shield, but it's fine, because the backline's okay. Gambit never folds in the form of the God of Mischief. They've lost out on the group here. They have the damage output. Tones looking right behind them. No anti to follow up, as they've isolated Energy, who doesn't have a reset either.
The Golden Deagles, they are going off here as Tones is hunting and praying. Regis on the other side. Quite literally the two meta picks getting it done for this team. Speedery does put it into Tones there, which is a big pick, as he did have ult there as the Vanguard tank pool. Regis now continuing to hunt. Forget Monster Hunter. It is a Liquid Citadel Hunter at this point.
Thanks for the love, love.
LuneX, the back-to-back, another stagger fast though. Speedery, left one, trying to run away. Ayuda may need some help. Gets to the safety of his team, as the Daredevil does.
Already 74%, and right now all momentum for this second point for LuneX. They've got Heaven's Retribution with the Glartrox alone. Here's the 4-5 teammates all going. Gambit, Raging Royal, and they all forward up. The Glartrox comes out at the same time. This just happened the last hit, and they have one trade-off, but the rest happens big, and it's not going to be enough. Looks like Liquid should be able to take this.
To use at least the Phoenix Ultimate to take care of the Sia, but was it worth it? As Regis, unstoppable, finds Cooper as the next victim. Whose head is next on the stake, though? As they try to call out where Nero is, Cooper comes back. Heaven's Retribution this time, as they try to isolate Speedery. May need some help because they've lost out on Logan earlier on. LuneX back to 99%. It's Liquid's time to shine. They try to retake it silently, as now Regis and Silent will be able to try to come back to recontest, but they don't want to stagger like we saw in the last round.
Man, fun to see Speedery back into this thing, huh, Vicky? I mean, yeah, that's the fly over there in Envy now on the ground, showing what they can do on the Devil, who wasn't even, barely available for them back in last year's Ignite. Tone's going to go to throw out the ult early. Now Liquid fully has to hold this thing if they don't want to drop even a point, which I know is their expectation against this team. LuneX, though, at the hands of Regis, getting it done. Throwing out the Unicorn. I choose you, as Tones says it best. Good rotations. Devil let up behind, though. Lots of rotation they have to do themselves. And Impy finds himself. That's the trailer for Season 3. Season 4.
It's the dunk on the head. The dunk real quick. Let the Devil wear. I mean, he's back over at the spawn room gates. Regis is on fire this game. Cooper got a mission into the Raging Royal Flush. We see them trying to dive in. They got the big jump. Smart Chief takes so much damage. He's still alive. And now Regis sends everybody off the map. The Apex Predator proves why they are at the top of the food chain after finding Speedery and Pauly.
I mean, just handling just constant Royal Flushes has been actually a sight to behold here from LuneX. 99% to the 63 now. They're doing the job. Look at Regis just one by one, finding his prey. Tones with the follow-up of the Deagles as well. Going from D tier up to C shortly on the ult. And there it is, 99 and ticking down. Last desperation, Pauly gonna go ahead and try to get the point meter in. Up, down, doesn't matter, as the big C is in the way. This is gonna be their last fight for the chance to hold them. LuneX, do you have it? Yes, you do! Wow!
The shield onto the Sia too, just in case, just to make sure it's a bold statement too. We got a banger on our hands, as LuneX proves why they're still in this.
Talk about using the resources you have available to get the dubs, right? I mean, this is absolutely at the hands of the Glartrox. I mean, you see, constant purple cards just flying around Liquid, but they always have the right positioning in the answer. And if you're Liquid right now, you're doing the right coordination. It's about getting the right targets at the right time. Iffy with that massive pick early on Speedery too was disgusting. If you look at the ult economy, pretty close, but obviously you've got the Agamotto that should give them a bit of a heads up. against what Energy has on their side. So I actually like LuneX here, potentially 0.1.
I mean, Regis is just getting away, literally, with anything, right? Like, no one from Liquid Citadel has been able to pinpoint Regis. It looks like Regis is in Cirque du Soleil, and he's just been dancing around all these different ropes, playing on the outskirts of that last round's point. Let's see how they can do it, because now you have a lot more verticality. You have the ability to try to hide behind the waterfall before getting onto the point, and you have a lot more open sidelines to try to contest a lot of these strategists that want to back away, maybe even go to the health pack that's over to the right side of the cliff.
It's just so cool. We pointed this out before we went in. Regis on Elsa was what I was looking for, Vicky, and we saw what it did in the MRC, but how would it stack up against not only the pros, but one of the best teams in America, if not the best, right? And we're seeing it right here. You've got to control the Monster Hunter, and Regis is on the loose at the moment. Folks, buckle up. As I said, this could be a good one. Regis now with a quick dash. You can barely see her. That aim is deadly. Paulie now is going to go ahead and try to get some sustain on this point, not giving it to him right away. Tone's already with that ult now. Pressure on Max.
Where's the Invisible? The Invisible is still alive! You're nothing taken to the skies. Logan has the invisible boundary, though. The Eye of Agamotto hitting Ghost, while Paulie is able to find Iffy, who was trying to harass their backline. But this forces LuneX to now allow themselves to plant their feet on the point first. Very similar look to what we saw in that last round for round number 2.
This Agamotto's been wildly placed. And Tones, one of the big things you guys have to highlight is, yes, one of the big things about Tank Pool is the snowballing that can be done in Domination. Already upgraded to the max, those Golden Deagles ready. And that is just going to give that much more momentum for LuneX. There's the Gambit ult. Tico going to find energy from this. Paulie finds Tones. They have to get themselves this point back if they want Liquid not to get upset here. Speeder is just climbing the trees. Who said Rocket's mobility is dead? Look at that. Look at that animal go.
He is dipping and diving. Liquid Citadel retake this point, and they have some ultimates to work with too. Nero has that survivability. I do think it's important to highlight how they decided to get off of that low-key pick. They really didn't feel like they needed to utilize those lamps instead. They just need help with the peeling. But then nice takeover. My eyes, though, are currently on Regis, who has been a problem.
Yeah, they definitely have to play Find the Regis right now if they want to continue. Nero now out of the Loki. We're out of the Gambit. Cooper's going to take over the Gambit. Nero over to the Invis with the boundary ready to roll. This should allow them to sustain the point plenty. And we'll see how they choose to push in. They know exactly where Regis is. Trust me, if it's not from the gunshots, it's from everything else coming from that direction. Here comes Logan, though, pushing in with Speedery. Now going to put the pressure on the opposition. This is going to be close as they fight in the invisible boundary, Vic.
Great repositioning from Logan, too, to get right on top of that broken tree trunk, too. Take it to the skies. The Meteor M from Paulie. Can he find his mark? A selling place finally does get called out, which means that there is no help on the peeling side for the strategist. They need the assistance. It's up to Regis to back away now, noting that they don't really have that sustainability, but it doesn't matter, though. LuneX may not even need the sustainability because guess what? The damage output has been there, but now Speedery gets to walk up for free. 60% already on the point in favor for Liquid.
Yeah, Tico's gonna go and do a legendary.
No
Regis
way.
finds Speedery, and wow, it's like he lets Regis go, right? And I thought Speedery's target rotation was actually very good there, Vic. But you left him alive, and Regis just 1v1'd it himself, and the points take back. I mean, that's how crazy this hero can be, and especially at the hands of a talented player that we're becoming to see right in front of our eyes.
Regis is Timothy, literally. Like, we got to see these stats at the end of the game because this is absolutely insane. Liquid Citadel do have answers, though, up their sleeve. Cooper, Raging Royal Flush, ready to go together with Energy. That's going to be the Get Ready Go button into the Galactic Legend, but may not even need a defending of the Invisible Boundary comes out. As it does, Legendary needs help. The follow-up right afterwards, and that's going to be the team takeover for Liquid Citadel.
Yeah, I mean, biggest thing there is they were able to pop Logan's Visible Boundary as well, and I thought that was actually a good play by them, but it was perfect communication from Liquid, all diving at the same time. Speedery turning the eyes as well over to the boundary. They used a bit to get it, 76% end up. Remember, it's 1-1 per team. Winner's going to take this first map. Will we get an upset, Vic? It's coming down to the wire. Iffy at 98% on the opposition side. Still a lot of ult climbing for Liquid.
This is the most hype game we've gotten all day here. Tones moving up. They bursted his bubble, though. Iffy's, though, coming in from the other side. Heaven's Retribution ready to go as Liquid Citadel are nearing 99%. They got to recontest here on the point. Big ante onto Logan. Can we see a follow-up as it's Energy who finds Tones? No ultimate available for the Van Pool here. And with overtime ticking away, LuneX get a little bit more aggressive, but Iffy gets taken out. The BRB comes in clutch from silent plays, but is it going to be enough? As Paulie gets the back-to-back. Regis cannot do more to Liquid Citadel. They defend their throne to take game number 1.
Vicky! That was so close. It was
Too close.
definitely towards the end. I mean, listen, I thought obviously, first of all, shout out to Paulie putting it into his own hands at the end there, getting 3 on the neutral. Kind of disgusting. I mean, Glartrox, I choose you. I thought that was going to come out a little bit quicker. I think Regis was trying to find that perfect opening, which was the answer to what they did at the end each time. But no, was unable to get, sneak a game out from them. But LuneX said, we will be anything but an easy match here. Taking a look at the stats, he said he can't wait to see Regis. There it is, 18 finals. But on the opposition, Cooper farms MVPs like nobody else.
I mean, this is, wow. We go from the other side, too, like Cooper being able to get away with the Raging Royal Flush. Look at the strat difference, too, right? You have 32K, 33 for Nero alone. You're able to get these follow-ups a lot better and enable speedery. Energy, too, with the Star-Lord Galactic Legend in combination to that Raging Royal Flush just allowed them to stall for as long as possible. That's even with Regis repositioning like we saw to then try to retake over the point. It was incredibly close for that first map.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think there's definitely a lot that they could clean up here. We're kind of seeing this team come together in front of our eyes. And I think adjust to the bans. You know, the bans were, I think, a bit trickier than we all thought there, especially on Liquid's side. Really, Tank Pool allowed Tones to do what they do best. I mean, look at those stats on this side. Absolutely was a monster on what they pulled together for LuneX. But yeah, altogether, I think that was what we expected in some cases, but for Speedery, I think on the Devil, that's what really allowed them to kind of kick open the gates and get picks when needed.
Yeah, and then you take a look at Spark Chief too. You talk about maybe like some of the weaker holes in this foundation for Liquid. I feel like we've seen Spark Chief pop off way more, right? You want to be able to get way more done with the ante that's provided from the Feast of the Abyss. And unfortunately, they had all eyes on it. I think Regis was a big problem in preventing Spark Chief from being able to get that game going, which is, I think, something that they're going to note going into game number 2. So I don't think we're going to see the Elsa. At least Liquid's ban onto what we have just saw right now from LuneX.
I mean, generally, like, once the ban phase was over, like, I thought they just handed the victory to Liquid Citadel, right? Loki and Gambit both going through, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, like, gotta just give Cooper the Loki. Why not? You're sure? Why not? Like, take the L, I guess. But they played it so much closer. Like, there were so many layers to this. And I do love how they adjusted. And, like, yeah, round 1, like, they just kind of staggered in, but that could also have been their map. Like, they had a really strong start on each of those rounds.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. To point out a couple things that you just said. First of all, yeah, it was the Battle of the Vanguards that I pointed out early in the show that I was like, I'm interested to see what that looks like. And they kind of targeted those Vanguards and made Paulie and Spark Chief uncomfortable. And it kind of happened. I mean, Paulie and the Magneto, we didn't get as much results from that, especially on the first map. And Spark Chief, we just, mentioned about. I think talking about it, LuneX, though, handled the Loki Gambit better than I've seen most teams do. That is a very tough, constant source of communication that you have to not miss a beat. And it was hide the Regis and here's the Glartrox and constantly to continue to match that. And they almost had that again. If they would have pulled that off at the end, I think this could be a different discussion. They'd be up 1-0.
Yeah, I also feel like a highlight to the peeling that Logan needed in that first game was detrimental. Like, Logan went down how many times? Like 11 or so on the Invisible Woman. You were getting antied through your own invisible boundary. Maybe that's why you didn't have that impact as well as the strat healing that we really needed to see. And that was all thanks to the fact that even though Spark Chief wasn't enabled as much, he still was able to get the follow. Paulie was like the second highest damage that we saw overall for that team in combination to Energy, who had over 20k damage done too. So that was another like highlight, and that goes hand in hand with the Gambit team up that you're giving the Magneto to deal the extra damage.
Yeah, I mean, also just looking at the team in general, we talked about that as we were setting up the match, right? Their Vanguards have very overlapping hero pools. So if you're focusing on Vanguards in your bans, you're actually taking out 2 players. So this could become a problem later down the line.
Yeah, listen, you look at all sports besides esports, and there's games where like the underdog almost wins, and you're like, you know what? You wish they had that game to sneak out a win, because now the problem is I can almost guarantee Elsa's gonna. There's no way Elsa's gonna make it through this next ban phase. I think that's gonna be the first ban out the gate, and that was a big ticket to allow them to kind of get their rhythm rolling, if you will. But they do get to pick the map and kind of reset the stage. But that's one. If they could sneak that win out, then they'd be able to kind of adjust and maybe get the second to get the best of 3.
Based on what we've seen now on map 1, what mode do you think they're going to take us to?
Ooh.
Yeah, LuneX. So LuneX loves their New York. They do a lot of Midtown, a ton of Midtown. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see Midtown from them. And again, watched a lot of this team over the last like month. A team that I didn't know, I knew the players, but as a team didn't know they existed almost. And then to see how much they've come together in a somewhat of a lower bracket run, they did well. The only team they kind of struggled against was We Lost, who was very dominant in the MRC. It's because they always had an answer.
LuneX was the only team that managed to even take a map of We Lost. So they are the runner-ups,
And dominated Cafe Rose, like a team that we just saw win, right? And so they've got the talent.
You're saying the esports classic, the talent is there. One of my all-time favorite sentences, because it always applies. Because the talent is there. That's why these players are finding themselves in Ignite now, right? So it's going to be very interesting where they're taken as ban-wise. I love to see the deeper strats and who's going to be banned out. Generally, though, style-wise, Daredevil is seeing a lot of play. Did we just all have the wrong read on the patch notes? Like, are they having the wrong read? Like, who's tripping?
I think it just goes to show how good a hero is, right? I mean, if you take something from it can still be, a top tier hero even with so many changes. Look at Gambit; he's on his 10th hit, right, and he's still doing okay out there. So
he's just surviving an actual cockroach. It's incredible.
And he feels like he can fly too, literally. Like how? When he pops the Raging Royal Flush, this cockroach is literally flying like a palmetto bug in my direction, but it's not one. It's like 5 others.
Yeah, there's always 100 more if you see one, so.
It's fun to see Speeder and Nero outside of Envy. I've been super excited to see. I think, Envy was a team with a lot of expectation and pressure all the time. So now to see those two very anchors now go over to this side of things, when you have all these talented players put together on one team, sometimes I'm not saying there's personality clashes, but there's just so much talent to handle almost, right? So putting it together and the expectations. Also, hey, let's call it what it is. We see this across sports as well. When you look at the schedule and you're like, oh, we have LuneX, we'll be fine. Sometimes you kind of underwrite your competition, and maybe that kind of linked in a little bit to that first map.
Yeah, especially in that first week of play, where you really don't know how much the individual teams have even shown in scrims, right? Because not everyone is showing their full hand there. Everyone is still trying to figure out new meta, new teams, new players. So there's just a lot of moving pieces for every team to take into consideration when they're prepping for their opening match.
And then you come to see how you talk about those big heavy pieces of titles that you basically piece together, because if you had some of X FlyQuest and some of X Envy, you match them together, they have a baby, this is what you get as a result, right? Liquid Citadel has a lot to prove in that way, and if that is the first game that I'm seeing in my best of 2 out of 3, I'm not feeling the best in the way that maybe that pick and ban system went down, right? Elsa probably stuck in jail. We'll have to see how that plays out, but then you only have so many pick and bans too. It depends on what side these teams decide to play on as well. So seeing also if the Daredevil will be let out too, because that was also a problem that we've seen be repeated as a mistake in our other previous series when you go into the pick and ban phase.
It's funny when you're your favorite team, how, Liquid just won that, and we're almost talking about it like they lost, right? That's the expectations that you have.
Right.
And we opened the show with this, Zoe, of this isn't just about, the preseason seeding and prize. It's about showing your org. Liquid, hey, welcome to the Rivals Esport. I know they all got flown in together. I think they're all together right now. They have high expectations of this very talented roster they signed, and so these players want to show out, and that's why I think we're kind of highlighting them like this.
Yeah, especially in a system where you do have promotion relegation. There are opportunities for the org to kind of drop you, right? So there's kind of a knife hanging over players' heads. You want to perform each and every single day.
And there's the map, by the way. This is where it's I might watch an unhealthy amount of Rivals, all right? I had a feeling LuneX would take it here. They did this often. I think this is where they took the map off. Yeah, we lost way back when as well. It's just a comfort map. All teams have a comfort pick, and Midtown is going to be that exact for them as we take a look at the graphic here.
I like this though, Cozy. You called it out perfectly. And you know what? You also have a lot more of that vertical sightlines to work off of. So definitely have to keep your eyes on your backline to make sure you can help peel for them if you found that to be a difficult thing if you're LuneX. As well, Redis has been able to just pop off and be able to have that mobility. It's about being able to also try to help out and make sure that your strategists are sustained too.
Yeah, I mean, Regis' Elsa needs to be taken out of the equation. Liquid Citadel, I'm sure, wants to make this a convincing victory. After the first one was maybe a little bit too competitive for their liking. Let's see if they can bring it home. It is match point for them, so the pressure is definitely on LuneX.
Yeah, for sure. If the team can take it, though, it will be them. And again, this is a team that replaced, they had Scarlet on their team back in the MRC. And so this is also like small changes. And right now we're seeing teams that have made changes are flourishing. So, I think it's definitely going to lend towards them. The ban phase, I don't think it's going to look anything like we just saw. If you are LuneX, you want to try to copy some of what you just did because it's a proven that it worked, right? And shout out to them because a lot of that comes from the scouting and what you can do, which isn't a lot out there on Liquid Citadel. There's way more tape on LuneX's side being in the recent MRC.
Yeah, so you're kind of forced to either do just meta bans, right? Or you just ban out individual players, which was a very heavy Vanguard focus for them in the first set of bans.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get started here, Cozy. Group stage, we already got our team Liquid Citadel sitting at match point, as Zoe had already mentioned. While LuneX, I feel like they've built up the skeleton, but it's about filling up the pieces. Maybe no Angela, so that way you have somebody who could try to go in with you, because unfortunately, that didn't seem like the opportunity that LuneX was leaning into when Regis was popping off more so in the back line.
Absolutely. With the quick ban over to the outside, it's yet again the same call to victory for LuneX. So they were like, you know what? We're fine with that. We'll adjust a bit. And there's the Mantis ban to follow. So they're going to go with the same song and dance. They came away with the W, right? So why fix it too much if needed? We thought maybe we would have saw a bit of a change there, but either way, just loving all. You could just tell these players are just ranked demons from all these animated icons. I mean, come on. How many you got in your threshold there? I'm still working on my second. It's going to take me God knows how long. But we've got our Vanguard Deadpool banned yet again from the side of LuneX. We'll see if they match it here.
Thanks for reminding me I don't touch grass here, Cozy. But maybe here, too, because the Loki has been a problem. You don't want to have that out, okay? Because they've already learned their lesson as Liquid Citadel was able to cycle through so many Rage and Royal Flushes. And no Daredevil going into Midtown is very smart, because we were just talking about the back line here and trying to find different spots that you could get dove on. So that's something that Liquid Citadel doesn't have to worry about from LuneX's side. Tico already hovering over that Black Panther, though, is a nice sight to see, with a big conversation point going into how Dive has been so strong this season.
Absolutely. The Loki being banned this time around, I think, is probably a bit safer than the, well, obviously with the rope pick being saved, but I just like it better altogether for the team, just to, first for the mental, but also just for the constant source of ults that you're facing there in the Raging Royals. The ban on Daredevil continues to open up the odds, and there's the save once again so that Tones can be on the Merc with the mouth. Last ban going over to the Jeff, so a lot of similarities that we see with the Rogue Protect, going to open things up here for Spark Chief, who's going to flex not only on the icon, but flex the animated one on us here, Vic, as they lock in their teams.
It's such a great animated icon. I love the Rogue icon. All right. Getting started now. Liquid Citadel, a little too close for comfort, knowing that they're going to change things up just a bit. The BRB goes crazy, but it's even more important to highlight, Cozy, that Liquid Citadel are starting on the defense. This is why they were able to pick a ban on their side over on the top of the menu, but it's also the triple strategist that you could expect, as well as a triple Vanguard.
All right, so we've got the Emma Rogue on the defensive side with Energy, which Energy oftentimes back in his FlyQuest days would flex over to this exact Magneto. She does have this kind of up his sleeve and in the tool belt. Always important to have that flexibility. And I think this aided a lot of players in the past Ignite because of how strong Triple Vanguard was back then, especially on the defensive front. Now, in the aggression, the game plan, looking simple. You got Regis, you've got the Groot, and Tico still trying to find what they want to do here. Flex one now over to the Winter Soldier, our first appearance of the Soldier this Ignite, or at least right here in America. Here we go, Vic. Doors open in 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see what we got.
Little change up here before Regis looks ahead. Making sure that they got the communication going down right to pinpoint where they're located, because currently Energy's already hanging out on the high ground, being on that mag. Nice isolation with the bubble already from Tones. Look how Koik, I always gotta see it, how Koik Thankful tries to get that ultimate already online, nearing 70%.
Yeah, just about to put that pressure on immediately. And with Logan now over on the Loki, I think this is definitely going to be all about positioning and keeping the eyes on Cooper here early and quick. Nice rotation over here from Liquid Gaming and Cooper himself, trying to get just constant You always do something, right, Vicky? Whether it's healing or just a quick damage on the back line and the call out. Silent Blaze me up on the top here as Sue looking down on their Vanguards, keeping them up and farming that ult up. Notes the controller sticks. Silent Blaze on the controller here at the pro level. There's the ult coming out though from the Deadpool.
And it's finding them isolated, though, over to the side with Iffy just walking for free, setting up these walls, build a house, he says, and now you can force out the lamps from Logan, who is very close to the God of Mischief, but they've lost out on Regis, who was a big point here for LuneX. There's that God of Mischief that we just heard from Logan, and it's going to be the invisible boundary, a Venn diagram you can see from Nero unleashing his own, but the choke slam down right outside the circle of protection means that it's going to cost another member of LuneX to go down.
Look at that delayed hit there, just to see if we can get the health pop at the end. What an absolute great play. An awesome just job of Polly. Showing why Emma is still very well in the Vanguard scene, even though people want to write off Mother herself. Cooper going to go in and get a quick punch and melee finish there with the ult charge to push this team back to that spawn. And they're doing a great job so far. And we're seeing why Spark Chief's Rogue was banned, because it is something to fear.
Not only that, like the fact that they had the Gambit already in that last round, they didn't want that extra damage. Now they get it double time with Magneto and Rogue. And you have 3 ultimates to work with. Nero's getting already to that 50% mark with the invisible boundary, but with the Heartbreaker to start things off, you take away the sustainability from those supports, but he slams down the Meteor M onto nothing. Great protection coming out as LuneX get away from that trouble. Logan close to that, got a mission, but look where Regis is. You're down an alleyway, and Polly's just trying to get them to Psionic Seduction, and they're forced to back away behind the walls.
And just using every bit of this Gambit team up for all of them, whether it's Energy with his, Spark Chief with theirs, and now Paulie just hunting there with the Pulse. They go ahead and try to get some room here. Tones is as he throws down the Q, and there is the Glartroth. Had so much success there on Domination. If you're going to find Energy, but just like that, the free life, and a big one at that. Speedery bringing back the Magnetic Hero themselves. Tones gets a pick. This is coming down to the wire here on point 1.
And that was a follow-up off of the slam down onto both of the Vanguards. They only get 1 out of the 3, though. Nero, invisible boundary. As now Polly's going to come right back around with the Doctor Strange portal, trying to prevent LuneX from even getting to that next point. But with even more members falling down, LuneX looking fantastic.
Who needs the Qs? They were right now hunting Energy, by the way, in that backline as the Mag. Now Energy going to go to Wolf. This is an often pick when you portal. Just such a great swap over, especially with that second life. But down, okay, they do find Tico even with the portal, so success is going to be found here at the last moment to hold strong. Spark Chief going to activate that team up and the ult on top of it. Silent Blaze trying to stay alive within the boundary. Groot ult is out, no success from it, and with a laugh from it, Nero's going to find Iffy. It's Liquid coming from the portal like the in-game to find success.
And it was like some excellent violence, right? We saw Spark Chief come out of that portal and immediately get the grab onto Tico. Had no chance to give Tico the opportunity to get away. With another team fight win, you're down less than 15 seconds for LuneX to get this first checkpoint.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Energy also's got the ult as well. And so look out as Paulie can get the Yagamoto Spark Chief to join in. This is going to be everyone wanting a piece of the pie here. As Spark Chief with the quick take on the thing. Finds the health pack in the back and somehow drives out of here. Are you kidding me? It's 1v5. Mother stayed alive, but down goes Spark Chief finally.
Finally, they're coming in from the heavens, and Yagamoto finds 3. Get down, says Glartrox, though, the Apex Predator, to try to back away and clear and bounce off from the club to go to the rest of the team because they're trying to clear up that space. But the recontention, as you saw Liquid Citadel able to back away just in time, as a huge dive finds 3. But with the Invisible Woman shield, it keeps them alive for now. The Gambit ultimate just to help them out too. And Tones sees everybody, but they need to get that Gambit ultimate first. You got to look at Cooper, who's a little bit behind, and Nero's close to that invisible boundary to stay alive. But maybe not anymore.
Trying to get them off the point there, and was almost successful to win in the overtime. Committed from it. The Spark Chief falling early. That was their best option. Now Energy can come back, but just like that, they're going to take the point and win the fight. Really well jobbing. Just goes to show you fall one member early with Spark Chief's Rogue, and the dominoes will fall from it. Kudos, though, I got to say, for Energy. Just trying to get the point off there. That was like a 5-piece.
It was huge. He was eating that time. But there was still one more member left to recontest as well, and they had the Invisible Woman to protect them, to resustain them too. No ultimate needed. It was Tones who had burned that in the last fight with some change-ups to Energy over to the Star-Lord once again, and Nero at least has the invisible boundary for this fight around after he was focused in the last fight.
Yeah, this is a ton of space right away they're giving up here on the second point, one that I wish they to push in more on here. Invisible boundaries are going to go out from Logan. Silent Blaze can match it. Nero's going to match that. A lot of invisible boundaries about to happen on his screen at once. We see the copy happen different. Spark Chief does get Tico down. Just like that, now can push forward the W and try to reign from there. Glartruck still tries to change their mind. Nothing from it. Comes up hungry. Silent Blaze throwing that out, Vicky. Right now, it's kind of a trade of back and forth that Reedus continues to do and be that difference maker.
Also really like the way that Reedus played around the invisibility of that invisible boundary here from Silent Blaze. Tones takes a quick little selfie just for the cinematic opening here as they were able to clean up 2 more.
Yeah, when you give all that space on the first point, typically if you get 3 from this on the hold side, can turn to maybe only a 2 hold. They're able to do so. Tones does have that ulti aim to find that backline strategist. The invisible woman. Run, Nero, run is all they can wish and pray for. They're going to try to find Cooper to keep them up. But just like that, it's deleted. And point is taken, Vicky. I mean, look how that was one of the easiest point twos you've seen. And I've highlighted why Midtown is their flavor pick. They're just feasting the spawn room.
The iframes after iframes, quick little selfie. I mean, you could imagine his camera roll is probably full at this point. He's going to get more memory because it's going to be a reset here from Spark. He already knew it was a GG there. They wanted to be able to at least push in to contest in this next corner because this could be a bloodbath to be staggered in a spot like this.
Yeah, Tones is so fun to watch. Just having a great time out here. Midtown is their hometown. Speedery, Devil out, ready to go. Should favor them in this 3rd point where they swap up the comp. Energy has that legend ready to roll. Might pop it early. We'll see what they get out of Speedery first. Do LuneX, good rotations into the building here to stay alive and not have to use anything too crazy, Vic. That allows their strategists to build back up and get ready for the next fight.
Nero's ready with that invisible boundary here too. Looking at Tico, who could also go in for a reset with the Unsung Inferno. Spark Chief finds another victim this time, but gets caught by Reedus backing away. The Glartrucks, I like that Spark Chief was expecting that. That's a big nothing all over again. And with the Heartbreaker, it's going to be the counter immediately afterwards. Venn diagram, invisible boundaries from both sides, and it's Logan who calls out Speedery.
Yeah, good rotations out, and Energy just on the delayed ult finds Tico. Staying alive now is Tones. This is going to be enough to push back and win this hold in this fight, which was an important one at that. That was their last really important cue that they wanted to use there. And now they have Cooper and Paulie headed to the next one. So this is going to be an interesting trade-off as Reedus is a bit far away as well. Vicky, LuneX has got to be perfect here. 40 seconds left.
Less than that minute here, and time is of the essence. Cooper has that Raging Royal Flush, and it's going to be difficult. All eyes on Silent Blaze, as Silent Blaze can manage to double jump invisibility away and not get called out by an anti. As Paulie opens things up with the Silent Seduction, which could stop the double jump alone. If he's the first victim, Tico to follow. 2 ultimates that they will not have online, but they still have 20 seconds to go.
That is why Gamma gets his name as one of the more feared strategists in this game. Rotating over, 12 seconds. Good push either way if you're LuneX. Trying to get further into point 3 is the goal. They've got 3 ults to do it. Cannot get the stagger early. They find success. Good call on us if he goes down with the ult as well. Inside Inferno crashes down, finds the connection. Spark Chief out of this thing just like that. No ults to be said for Liquid Gaming. Nero now up on the board, ready to go. Glartrucks, though, is the best thing to find success in this invisible boundary, Vicky. It'll come out with something.
Huge back away, though, from Liquid. They knew that they did not have the sustainability. They're trying to get the space. They waited for Nero and the invisible boundary, but now it's up to Iffy to find his mark. Looking around, where is Nero? Good protection. Is it going to be able to land on the mark? Spark Chief falls incredibly low, and it's Reedus with some help from the Glartrucks to really back him up, to do all the extra damage in combination of Tico, and they're going to be able to clear this point and around the next corner.
Now, Nero keeping the team alive with that quick shield at the end to burst the bubble, but either way, it's the duelist getting it done. Logan's got ult ready as well, pushing in. Love the aggression here. Down on the ground, Loki looking for the clone on the damage. Energy to rotate over 91%. Look for this legendary. Cooper at 71. If they can sustain this fight a little bit longer, Liquid should be able to hold, but Logan's got the invisible bounty aggression-wise. Good rotation there from the strategist, keeping up speed. He finds a big pick, though. Down goes Tico. Invisible boundary up and ready for Logan.
Keep the devil off! No! He goes down! He can't let the devil out! And Silent Blaze behind the other side of the invisible boundary is able to get that snipe. Got a mischief now over for Logan. Silent Blaze does not have the sustainability. It's up to Energy to clear the rest of the points, but they backed away out of his line of sight. He needs to move up and take advantage of the Raging Royal Flush.
Look at those clones just taking all of those bullets from the cars, and Peter Quill himself, Speedery and Spark find 1, then 2, and that was kind of the ticket to that last bit of the point, Vic. You saw how close Gambit was, or in this case, Cooper and Energy. They just needed that fight to last a little longer, and they got the lethal combination. And that's what happens when you leave Star-Lord available with Gambit. It can be absolutely disgusting.
And also understanding the win condition, right? Like, if you do not find these two players, it could be difficult. You're just building up into another round of Strat Ultimate galore, all the invisible boundaries that we saw on our screen at the same time, and you want to be able to try to delay that here, following up from the Rage and Royal Flush into the Galactic Legend. I do have to highlight, though, LuneX's awareness and knowing when to back away and the help for peeling is chef's kiss.
No, LuneX played the better match there. I mean, I want to go out and say on that specific point, even though they didn't get the full 3 cap, I think that they played a very strong match. However, man, Speedery on the Storm with Liquid coming out hungry here. This is going to be something interesting on the offensive side. We'll see what they end up kind of locking in fully. But yeah, LuneX, again, I'm impressed with the level of play. You know, so many people looked at, you know, whether you want to call it Tier 2 MRC and say, all right, well, what happens when they're put into these groups? I mean, they're showing out here.
I was excited when I see Speedery go over to the Storm. I was like, what year is it? Going back to the OG, having some fun. Cooper already getting some information for the rest of the team as he still now on the Daredevil himself, making a swap of what Speedery was on earlier. And coming out of the gates, you see Energy already on the Wolverine, trying to see if they could fully expect the triple Vanguard, but it's really only Tones here on the other side, and if you're ready for that on Thing.
Yeah, interesting pick here on the Wolverine, especially with the Storm. We'll see if this stays. He might rotate out once he saw how the counter plays have been a part of it. But we're going to go ahead and see what Logan does in the background here. Love this positioning if you're Loki main. Take note of exactly where these clones are in his stance as well, trying to confuse the opponent as much as possible. Energy is going to swap over. Did expect that, right? He saw the thing. He's like, all right, we're going to go over to the hand of Khonshu himself, try to farm that up. But Speedery over on Storm now is just a little bit all over the place.
Different look entirely here too. He's slicing and dicing, and it's Energy over to the Moon Knight. The Moon is haunting them with the follow from Polly. One after the other, the domino falls. That is LuneX. It's gonna have to be a hard reset as Speedery sends back Rita's last.
And Moon, I remember when Moon Knight was just kind of peeking their way into Ignite, you know, every now and then, Vicky, and now just an absolute could be just scary right out the gate. Always has that option. You know, you take 20% cooldown reduction on ult. Doesn't really matter for the man who hands up Khonshu's all of the time. Logan now going to put out those clones to escape. It's the only form for Loki, but that just puts more out for the Crescent Darts as Energy is just throwing them, gathering ult like crazy. Have to get the finish, though, or you get the strategist too much ult charge, and he's finding those as Tones goes down as well.
It was big, too, to try to harass Logan, but Logan manages to stay alive around his own clones, and he did use that invisible boundary, but it's the damage that's too much. The Rage and Royal Flush to answer that invisible boundary was enough for Liquid Citadel to get that first checkpoint.
Yeah, one of these things that just make Liquid so powerful is that at any point, any of the 6 can carry. And that is what's so crazy about this team, and the Duelists especially on the front of Energy and Speedery. Two of the best on their old rosters now combined into one. And they play very, honestly, complementary roles there in the Duelist position. Cooper pushed all the way up in the W. Q ready to be pressed here from Spark Chief. We'll see if the Heartbreaker comes out early. He wants them to come into this left side here, Vic. We'll see if they do so.
I'm trying to wait for it. Oh my gosh, look at Cooper's health. He was literally one shot for a second. Good awareness here from Nero. The fact that they're going to try to make this work together. At least Nero does have that Mantis ultimate. It's going to be that Soul Resurgence. As now you got to look at LuneX, who Tico's trying to move up. He's got the Horn of Proteus as well to try to cut off their exit points. But they're playing incredibly split up. Nero waiting for them. You can clearly see the hand of Khonshu to trash down over their forehead. Spark Chief gets a follow-up. Tico does find Nero in the back. This only leaves Cooper up for sustainability. And even though you let the devil out, it may be just enough, but you don't have the sustain that you may need.
Oh man, it's like the Hulk. You don't want to make Team Liquid angry. We're seeing it just now as they continue through point number 2. If he is going to get Spark Chief out of this thing. But one thing I want to highlight, we saw it there with Nero on the pick on Tones. Both Nero and Cooper are some of the most lethal strategists out there. Vicky, you saw Tones try to hop out of that Khonshu and Nero just with a quick headshot to get that down and out. I mean, it's crazy, to be honest, with the tracking.
Yeah, it's also like the good communication of these follow-ups, right? Making sure you're able to track a lot of these players and their different positioning with the way that they've been able to back away so well. Read us up, trying to do enough of that damage, but no one's looking at energy. You see right behind you, just making sure that he's safe. He saw Iffy, said, don't worry, I'm fine, taking care of these squids. Instead, he's close to that hand of Conchu. He doesn't have it to try to deal with that invisible boundary from the other side, but Liquid Citadel, they do have Cooper and that Rage and Royal Flush waiting to push all together to cut off the exit point that LuneX has.
Yeah, they were trying to see what they had to use there to win this point, and funny enough, as they get the point now, because the rotation from LuneX, they maybe were trying to hold on to that Gambit. Either way, this is a field day for any Moon Knight out there with the Namor Squids and the Loki. He will be swapping over to the Star-Lord for this last bit of the point, which is extremely smart. If you're watching this play right now, you always want to look for a duelist at the map and what it best serves you in terms of the environment. So like this, you'll be going over to Wolverine, another good pick here in the last minutes.
Especially you have much more open sidelines. I always feel like it's so difficult to get out of this choke, and that's why you see the portals now from Iffy, but it doesn't prove to really help them out because, yeah, you have a BRB, you have Logan on a rocket, but you've lost out on your entire team.
We're just showing off now a little bit. Everyone's trying to see if they can pad their stats before we review it at the end. And Cart is on full blast here, 3 minutes, 33 seconds. LuneX would need a defensive effort of a lifetime. But either way, there are no moral victories, but coming out strong here in the opening match number 4 here. Day 1, the Americas Ignite. Spark Chief going to lead the charge for the team now, diving in, going for the Hulk hello appearance from Tone.
Oh. All right, if he's going to be able to reset because he was actually stuck in the back line here. Doesn't want to stagger for the rest of his team who are struggling. He makes the swap now over to the tank pool. Tones, by the way, on Hulk as a whale comes crashing down and sinking the ship. That is Pauly. Nero at least has that invisible boundary, but they're holding strong here as LuneX now take control over this corner.
All 10,000 tons of under the sea right there. Down goes Pauly. Good pickoff there from Tico as well. They're going into full defense mode here. So Tones on the Hulk. You got Tico ready to go. Iffy swapping on over to that Deadpool that they have to take advantage of with it not being banned. So they've got plenty to go another at least minute and a half, but Liquid has every Q ready to pop as well. About to be a color explosion, Vicky. I know the ult's been reduced, but here we go.
No, I'm always ready to dance here, Cozy, when we see the fireworks blow up in front of our eyes. By the way, Silent Blaze getting energy after he just swapped. I like the swap boost, but it's about getting out of this choke that it's a huge problem. And guess what Ritas has in his pocket? He's got the Glartrox. You got to be careful here. It's staggering even more time. But Liquid Citadel do have a good amount of time. They still at the 2-minute mark, but time is of the essence.
It's crazy they're getting it done without any of the ults, too. I mean, this is just wasting time, and this is perfect on their battle plan. They're trying to wait for energy to get up to their ult, but just going to pop it now as Cooper going to push in, see if they can find everyone together. And they locate the Silent Blaze in this. Sparky just finds Reedus, which is a good pick. Not the one they wanted. And continuing to push up. Not a bad hit. Silent Blaze trying to find life and safety. Tones the back line. Cooper in danger. Collapse to death.
Somebody help him, 911. Unfortunate here, and after the stun, you could call an Amber Alert after that one, as Sparky is able to find Tico. It's a trade-off, and Speedery unfortunately goes down. You see Toads now activate. Big man Hulky comes in, and he's got the reset. Forces out the Loki clones, though, if you're looking at Liquid Citadel, and Pauly comes in with the Silent Seduction. Energy to get enabled, but you don't look behind you! The Glartrox sends everybody against the wall. They're still alive. W heals are thinking as Cooper and Nero were in the back.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Glartrox hit the wall too fast and let them all go, and they were able to escape. Pauly with the finish and the flush, and there it is, 2-0. It happened so fast before your eyes. Quick tip of the cap to LuneX and make that thing interesting, but it is going to be Liquid taking the 2-0 on the team, coming from the MRC and qualling in. Wow, what a game.
Don't let the 2-0 deceive you. That was the closest series we have had all day long in day number 1 of our America's MRI.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we highlighted before. It's once again Cooper just farming these MVPs. If we start tracking now, I think by the end of the year, the guy could have the most. 44,053K burger on the healing sins of the strategist. Try to find a weak point. It's pretty hard to with this roster stacked to the 9s. Just impressive all around.
There's the damage output here too. Like, you got the 18 final hits from Speedery, and giving credit where it's due. Looking on the other side, Logan and Silent Blaze, they were doing their best, right? Like we saw that there were some issues going on with no peeling. Regis a lot better too in being enabled on this specific map, but we also didn't see those Apex Predator ultimates really land on its mark like we saw in our previous map. And then taking a look at Energy coming out when they needed to make the swap ups, whether it go from the first checkpoint to the second, the Moon Knight into Mantis damage boost too made my eyes water from just watching their health bars melt there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think really the key to success, if I were to point out one thing alone, is Spark Chief and Speeder kind of handling Regis this time around. Like, if you look around the board on stats, I honestly think they did perfectly fine. Regis did fall pretty early in those fights compared to the last match in the Impact and even the offensive approach that they had. And you continually saw that it was kind of the #1 objective for Speedery and Spark Chief together, who did have access to that rogue. Fun to see all those team ups combined into one, and what this team finally has when they put together what we've been calling the America Avengers of talent.
And as we bring back Zoe too into the mix after she was able to watch all the action unfold, you have Cooper, Nero, very strong backline here, Zoe, and then here comes Speedery and Spark Chief. Cozy was just talking about it, how strong they were and being able to get the dive 1-2 together, and even Spark Chief was able to get some of these grabs outside of the invisible boundaries that are really allowed them to not get the same impact that they may have wanted with the sustainability.
Yeah, I mean, like, with their powers combined, it's just so oppressive, right? It's so aggressive, it's so oppressive. It's really hard to stay alive through that. I was kind of baffled that Liquid Citadel in their banning also just like, no fear. Let them have Elsa again. Deadpool Vanguard, we're not worried about it. That was not their takeaway from map 1, whereas we were pretty much all on the same page here, being like, oh yeah, you obviously need to like counter what we saw, like LuneX doing so well in map 1.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, kind of, again, like we were talking about it like they lost map 1, but I think it was to our surprise in the expectation, right? With expectation can come disappointment, but I think they did really show why this is a team that is going to be very tough to beat in Group B. But also, LuneX, in my opinion, did the same with their performance right there. I think they showed the other teams in their group, like, hey, we're here and we're here to show what we can do as well. But yeah, you know, shout out to Paulie as well, just adjusting constantly to having that cap ban. It's kind of like Krakoa and Adam. You know, if you waste a ban on cap, you know, you're not able to ban another meta option, which then opens up what they were able to use, and that is the Gambit and Co. And that's obviously just, you know, nearly as good.
If you're one of the other teams watching now, I mean, obviously everyone had their eyes on Liquid Citadel. They wanted to know what they're rolling out of the gate with. What is this super team going to look like? What's going to be their identity? Vicky, what will be the takeaway from the opposition?
They're mortal. They could bleed. It's possible. And if anything, you know, that's something to keep note of is the way that the pick and ban phase went out too. And even if you're on the other side and you're dealing with LuneX, don't sleep, because obviously Elsa still remains to be a problem. It's also like what you were saying, Zoe, the confidence that Liquid Citadel have to pinpoint that Regis was a problem, but not a problem enough to waste a ban onto Elsa is high level, right? Like, they know what the issue is instead. And also to pair it what Cozy was saying, Paulie being able to make those adjustments, whether it be, okay, I'm struggling a little bit, maybe in that first round with Mag, kind of wake up a bit, and then making that swap over the triple Vanguard that we saw to enable Spark to do what he wanted, into what they saw would really work out. And in that case, it was the Emma.
Yeah, it's actually so incredible impressive, right? Like, if you identify something like that, most teams would just go for an Elsa ban, but instead adjusting the way you play and your focus fire and the way you apply pressure, like, that's some high level play.
Yeah, I mean, even gods could bleed, right? I mean, that's what they say. Looking at them, I think it's looking at their flexibility. What were their comfort picks? What did they go to in times of their backs against the wall? Like, if this was a clean 2-0, I don't think you would have learned nearly as much about them. And so for these other teams, they can look at kind of what were the adjustments being made from them and what they put together on display. For me, though, I think it starts from the top to the bottom with these teams. For me, though, Cooper and Nero, it's kind of like the strategist backline to where the worry happens. It's like, man, that is, to me, that is by far the strongest backline, probably, I would say, in this whole Ignite series.
I mean, they are a super team for a reason. I think you can make a really strong argument for each and every single player to be one, if not the best, in their respective roles. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to, like, ban out their strong points. It's going to be tough to, like, just take them out, like, from a strategic standpoint. There's a good reason why almost everyone had them as a #1 in their group, Vicky.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just thinking, you know, I want to really dig into the mind of Spark if we get to have him on here as our player interview, because after coming out of that, you talk about like the pressure from the Titans that are supposed to hail within that group respectively. And you wonder, okay, well, for a team that a lot of people had in their predictions all the way in last, even though it was a 2-0 for Team Liquid, how comfortable are you? Like, where do you think you need to iron things out? Because if they do prove that they could bleed, this could be a problem moving forward for the other teams to take note of this VOD review.
This is a team that is full of people with high expectation, right? If you looked across the board in the FlyQuest and Energy and Spark Chief, right? And people had high expectations of that team. Then you go to Citadel with Paulie, right? The expectations for Citadel. Envy, I mean, come on, we don't even need to rehash that story of what happened with Envy, but they thought that they were going to be at the top of the throne, right? And then obviously that didn't go their way either. So it's like all these players that were so close to what I think was their expectations. So when you put them all on one team, that's a recipe, not for disaster, but for, for something scary.
Yeah, especially when you have like those individuals, which initially in 2025, they were like, oh, this is like the best duelist, right? But then the team fell off towards later stages. So then naturally the players are kind of tend to be underrated heading into the next season, just because the team as a whole did not perform.
Yeah, absolutely here. And I am excited to get our interview ready to go because, listen, this is a player with a lot of emotion. We've seen them all the way back to stage 1, and I think their mom came into the room with like a camera angle that was awkward. I will never forget it. And then we go into stage 2, and just the constant, all of the team behind him. Spark Chief is definitely a fun one to have, and excited to have him here in just a moment, Zoe.
Yeah, the interview is ready. Spark Chief is joining us. So welcome to the show. Congratulations
Yo.
on the first
What's up,
dub.
guys?
How are you feeling right now? That was a lot closer than we expected.
Yeah, I mean, we're still figuring it out. We're like figuring it out, don't worry. It's like early. We just got to Canada. Filling things out, getting used to the setups. Like, it's all good.
Spark Chief, first of all, good to have you back, man. Excited. I got two for you. Okay, so first off, my first question is, how do you keep yourself grounded, right? This is a team with a lot of talent, a lot of expectation, right? So when you look at your team and who you're going against in the group you're in, how do you keep yourself focused and full on in, and kind of what is this team's identity? And my second question is, on the trailer for your team, they put the montage of you twice. What do you have to say about that, my friend? I mean, come on. You know, that's like, I was cracking up at it, Spark Chief, but anyway.
I mean, to answer both questions, like, I don't really care, right? Like, I don't care about names anymore. I don't care about who we're against. I don't care, like, it's like a bad team, a good team, like, if whatever, like, if I should be losing, winning. I don't really care. I'm just doing my job. And then the monthage stuff, like, I don't mind it either. Like, it's in the past. It's cool. I got some clout from it, so, like, it's whatever. But it's raw, right? Like, it's just raw. So, like, I don't mind.
Love it, man.
It's just me, you know? I don't really care. Like, it's me
Oh,
crying.
yeah.
All right, whatever. Like, my mom saw me already cry. Like, why would I care if anyone else saw me cry? You know, like, I don't really care. I don't have much to worry about.
That's
But
it. That's the
yeah.
take.
That's it.
I mean, if anything, that shows how much you care, right? You're passionate. You're serious about this. You're locked in. You guys
Yeah,
look great.
I mean,
You
that's
guys
what
are
I'm
figuring
saying.
things out, especially when you guys are together.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
man.
saying.
And you know,
why
honestly, I
would
just wanted to
care?
ask you guys too, like, that's what I like that mindset as well, because it also just makes sure that not only do you highlight that you care about your performance and what you could do for your team, but your passion, right? Other players at home right now are watching you guys compete from the in-game client. They're saying, man, like, look how flexible this guy could be. We saw you guys struggle a little bit in that first map. Specifically, I was talking about you. I'm like, okay, this isn't the Spark Chief that we're used to seeing. He keeps getting like contested every time he keeps trying to dive that backline. You pull out with Rogue because they don't ban Gambit. And that we've been seeing that happen a lot. A lot of teams also opting to not ban the Elsa like what you guys did against Ritas. There's only so much that one player could do. I mean, how are you guys feeling going into your next series? I believe it's a Space Station tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I don't really know who we're. I'm not gonna lie, my mind's elsewhere. But I mean, yeah, I think like the Elsa ban versus the Gambit ban is like, it's really just like whatever you want to do. It's just like, it's a whole different game, right? Like, it's gotten to a point where like both things are beatable, I think. So like, it's not really like a big deal. But I mean, yeah, we were struggling a little bit in map 1 because we were like all over the place. Speed wanted to do something, I wanted to do another thing. I was like, oh, we have Loki Gambit, let's just kill the tanks. Like, we have Loki. I'm just gonna sit on Brewer and shoot tanks. But like, he wanted to just go on backline, but it's fine. We fixed it. we ended up going fully on one thing. Like, doesn't really matter. And yeah, I mean, they pulled out some cornball strap on like console. I know what they play over there. So yeah, I know where they got that from. But it's all good. It's corny. It's whatever. I respect it. Trying to throw some curveballs. It's all good. Yeah. I mean,
Spark.
just keep getting better.
Hey, I want to just say, buddy, keep being you, keep having that emotion. And for me, man, you've been one of my favorite players to watch evolve over this entire thing. It's been really fun. I was calling it up before the interview. You know, I remember the first one, buddy, with the camera up, mom coming in the room.
Yeah,
I
with my
I
mom,
wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, my mom brought me some pizza
I'm
that day. She was like, she didn't know I was playing. She was like, "Hi, I'm sorry," and like, we're good. It's all good.
Excited for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Mom's the real
Thank
MVP. Spark Chief,
Yeah.
it's exciting to see you guys getting that first up. We can't wait to see how the team is going to continue to mesh together and taking on all these teams. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, I mean, no one wanted to do it. This team hates content, so I'll just be here forever for the rest of the
That's
year.
fair.
I think, so.
That's why we got you.
All good. Yeah, that's why they got me. Yeah, you're
But
smart.
perfect.
Appreciate
So we
it.
get a lot more opportunities to chat to you.
What's up, Paulie?
Yeah.
We ain't complaining. We ain't complaining. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Spark Chief. No one else wants to do it. Yeah, why do people hate content so much? I don't know. It's a weird thing. But yeah, I love people who are just real. You know, like you can clearly see that he cares. Like he cares deeply, and yeah, like they also like the fact that he just shared it. They're treating every team as just like it's a team, right? Are they ranked high or they're not? Like what the community perception is, that doesn't really matter because each and every game day you should give your best.
That was like the perfect answer that I wasn't expecting from him, at least when he's like, I don't care about both. And I think that's exactly what you need to have in these opponents, to not get caught up in names for yourself or for them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it. We need more people like, I think Spark Chief brings to the scene. I love the raw emotion. I love it both on the highs and the lows, right? Like, yeah, if you talk a lot, you're going to have to back it up. But if not, there's also that raw, I want this. And I think we need more of that, especially in this early esport as a, you're doing hosts at the lands for them. You know, it's something I love to see is the passion there. And so, more of that for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, you see that a lot, right, in the FGC. It's all about showing how much you care, how much you're super serious, and he was able to do that. So I'm excited to see way more of Team Liquid Citadel in the future, Zoe.